Now, Srimati Kanimozhi.
About mainly about reducing the wage component of the fund allocation and restricting the areas of work. But the reply, I don't think, has addressed these problems or has answered these questions. The reply here states that a large body of research shows that MGNREGA has had its impact on social protection, livelihood security, creation of assets, and democratic governance. And around 54% of the workers are women, and close to 40% are SCs and STs. So we can understand the importance of this scheme and how much it has done for society, rural society especially, and for employment and social security. And such an important scheme you cannot bring changes, you cannot reduce it, and it creates a great concern when it comes to making changes in this scheme, because it affects employment in rural areas, and a very large population depends on the job opportunities created by the scheme. And great first concern is this labor material ratio being changed. Sir, for example, in Tamil Nadu, the labor material ratio is only 99 to 1%. But we have actually micro irrigation works which have been completed in Tamil Nadu are 2,677 under this project. So compared to many other states where it is 6139, I think Tamil Nadu has done very well. So it's very important that we understand how this project is very important, and the labor material ratio cannot be reduced, and it should not be tampered with. And for example, again to take Tamil Nadu, 27% of its asset creation projects have been done under the scheme. So we cannot say we haven't created enough assets. There are good examples. Of course, there's much more to do. We have to create more assets. We have to make this more valuable program. But I think first is to improve on this, and definitely not to reduce. That is one of the most important things. And large states and many blocks have been, the government is considering to leave out many blocks, and especially larger states like Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu will be affected in a large way. And when our member, Mr. P. Rajiv, was speaking, he said in Tamil Nadu it's being cut down to nearly 98 blocks only. Sir, in Tamil Nadu, the situation has been quite bad when it comes to agriculture, because we've lost a lot due to drought and the flood conditions only in the previous year itself. So a lot of agricultural sector has been affected, and a lot of laborers who've been engaged in that have been affected, and all over the country, the economic growth and investments have been reduced in the past few years. So that also has to be taken into consideration. Poor people who depend completely on schemes like this in rural areas, their livelihood has to be given importance and consideration before making any changes. And in this floor of the House, when our honorable member, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, was the minister, I remember he promising that 60% of the MGNREGA works will be linked to agriculture-related work. I don't think that much has been done about that. Agriculture, it is becoming very difficult to get labor for agricultural works nowadays. And it's a great concern when it comes to agricultural sector. So linking these two schemes will go a long way in improving agriculture and food security in the country. And it's a very important point for us at this moment to reassess and understand how much of the scheme has built over the past 8 or 9 years and how these can be improved. And also we must see that whether the laborers under the MGNREGA have learned any skills and how they can transfer these skills to other forms of employment. Finally, sir, we must strive to bring about a convergence between this scheme so that it creates community assets as well as providing employment, and it also protects the agricultural sector. And I request the government not to cut down blocks, not to cut down the size of the scheme, and as Rajya has pointed out, I think inflation also has to be taken under consideration, and the wages which have been given to the laborers has to be stepped up and improved. And I once again request the government not to cut down on the scheme, because it is very important to rural areas and already the struggling poor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.